Hey there, and welcome to Prompt Responses, the companion to my blog, This Side of the Apple. I'm Shonda Renee, and I am just here to read. Simple as that. These are my real, unfiltered responses to prompts that pull a little something real from inside. Sometimes they're personal, sometimes a little poetic, sometimes a little raw. Each episode is short, but the heart behind them runs deep. So thanks for stopping by, and let's get into it. Today's prompt is share a story about someone who had a positive impact on your life. The title of my response is, This Isn't Just Policy, It's Personal, or Are They Refugees or Recruits? Today, 59 white South Africaners landed on United States soil. I heard buzz about their impending arrival last week. I tried to minimize the news as much as possible, but still stay aware of what's going on in the world. When I heard about it, I immediately thought, since they were arriving at Dulles Airport in D.C., there would surely be a massive protest. When the news updated us on their arrival, I waited to hear of that hoped-for protest, but there was none. And as a last resort, I asked ChatGPT whether any had been reported at Dulles Airport, and it responded, there were no reports of protests at Dulles International Airport today, May 12, 2025. However, the arrival of 59 white South Africaners admitted as refugees under a new executive order by President Trump has sparked significant controversy and criticism. So I see our 92% are really, truly serious about sitting this administration's shenanigans out. And I get it. I just couldn't help myself, though. When I learned they are to be settled in various states, California being one of them, I had to implore Governor Newsom via phone and social media not to let that happen. I have no hope that either will be effective, but I have a hard time just sitting on my hands. Now, you're probably wondering what this has to do with the prompt. Share a story about someone who had a positive impact on your life. I'll get to that shortly. My parents were born and raised in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. From 1953, the year my mother was born, to 1969, the KKK had a stronghold in the region. A year after my mom was born, there was Bloody Tuesday, a peaceful march protesting segregated facilities at the Tuscaloosa County Courthouse. It was met with violent resistance from police and white citizens. In 1963, George Wallace, the governor at the time, attempted to block desegregation of the University of Alabama. He physically stood in the doorway to prevent 2 black students from enrolling. Degradation, intimidation, threats, violence, and fear were always thick in the air. My mother used to tell me about the white woman her mother worked for washing clothes. That woman would call her mother Mammy and say things like, "Gal, tell your Mammy to come here." My mother said it used to burn her up. The way the drawl of those words crawled out from that woman's thin lips stuck with her. Whenever she told that story, it was like she was right back there, looking into that woman's face, holding herself back from screaming, "She's my mother, you hateful cracker." Now, many people have far more horrific stories than I do, or at least that I know of. But it's not lost on me how narrowly I escaped living under the cloak of that kind of oppression. My mother moved us to Oakland, California in 1976. My parents were teenagers when they had me. They briefly married, but in the end, she spent a few years caring for her 3 children alone. She had dropped out of high school while pregnant with me, but once we got to Oakland, she enrolled in Laney College and studied business administration. She learned typing, shorthand, 10 key, those types of things, and was able to find part-time work while in school. She was briefly on welfare, which provided food stamps and a 3-bedroom apartment she only had to pay $12 a month for. Now, she never stopped striving to better her life. She never let the stench of racism she grew up under, or anything else for that matter, keep her stuck. So she didn't stay on welfare for long, and we didn't stay in that apartment for long. Now, with that said, this last move to make America great again, fast-tracking white South Africaners as so-called refugees while kidnapping and deporting Hispanic immigrants without due process, is some astounding stuff. Those individuals do not meet the definition of refugees in the slightest. As the president of South Africa stated, they are part of a small group who long for the country to return to the brutal days of apartheid. Now, each day under the Trump administration brings chaos, confusion, and the realization that this country could quite literally be taken back to days we had hoped were gone forever. We've all been watching the pot boil for years, though, just wondering when it will hit the roof. So, yes, this story is about someone who had a positive impact on my life. My mother. And when I see policies like these and actions like these, I don't just see injustice. I see a betrayal of everything she endured, everything she overcame, and everything she gave us so that we might rise beyond it. I think I'll end this piece with a few lines from Danez Smith's Dear White America. I've left America in search of darker planets, a solar system revolving too near a black hole. I've left in search of a new God. I do not trust the God you have given us. My grandmother's hallelujah is only outdone by the fear she nurses every time the blood-fat summer swallows another child who used to sing in the choir. I hope you enjoyed that, and thanks so much for listening to Prompt Responses. If something in this episode stirred something in you, I'm glad. These reflections are just a way of making sense of the world, one prompt at a time. I'm Shonda Renee, and you can find more over on this side of the apple. Until next time, take good care of yourself.